Is your weekend ruining your results? So just before we jump into the context of this video, I just wanted to go over the importance of the habits at the moment with putting your food diary in for the next 2 weeks. And just want to go over that it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. You know, we don't want to just see when you've had perfect days as well. We want to be able to see what happens when you have a bad day. You know, if things do blow out on the weekend, it's really important to be honest with the stuff you're putting in there at the moment so that we can see the big picture. And it's really going to tie in hopefully what I'm going to talk about in this video as well. So one of the things to realize, guys, like fat loss, it's simple, right? But it doesn't mean that it's easy. A sustained calorie deficit, while it's not the only thing, it's definitely the number one thing that affects our weight loss results. But for many, just achieving a sustained deficit is the definition of, easier said than done. And that's just because there's so many real world obstacles that come up from these internal things like, lack of energy, from cravings, to hunger, to poor sleep. And then there's external things, right? Like family and like travel, work requirements, social pressure, social media pressure, and of course, always just having to be prepared. But there is some good news. The ways that you can achieve that precious calorie deficit is surprisingly flexible because calories, they don't have to be the same every day. And you can even work off of a 7-day average of your calorie intake and, your energy expenditure. So our calorie intake can be flexible, and flexibility, it just makes things more manageable, it makes things less overwhelming, and that obviously just means less stress. And when the body and also the mind has less stress, it always gets better and more sustainable fat loss results. And we're usually going to have a lot more fun doing it that way as well. So let's have a little bit of a look at how this backfires. So what we've done is we've attached an image below that's going to show you what happens to a lot of guys and how their weekend can really be ruining their results. So if you're eating well during the week and you're eating at like a maintenance level of calories or even just below, but then you go hard on the weekend and your calories really blow up, you'll end up busting your hard work from the week, and you might even end up having a surplus of calories at the end of the week, which means you end up going backwards. So there's no reason why we can't eat a little more on the weekend and a little less during the week, but we just need to get that balance right. And everyone's different, right? Some guys will find that eating similar amounts and being in a deficit every day works best for them, whereas some guys might find it easier and more manageable to eat a little more on the weekend and then push into a little bit more of a deficit during the week. So it's okay to do what works best for you and just make sure you've got that balance right. So real big thing to take out of this, guys, is that remember, weekly averages are a hell of a lot more important than daily intake. And as always, reach out if you need any help, reach out, bring this up to your coach. It's a team effort to make things as effective and enjoyable as we can for you in this program. So if you feel like you've seen something there that might be helpful as far as, where your intake lies and what's going to be more manageable for you, definitely reach out and your coach will be able to guide you in the right direction with that. But yeah, check out that image below, guys. That should kind of spell out what I'm talking about as far as how a lot of people screw their results on the weekend, but also should give you a bit of context to how we could actually play around with our intakes through the week, because the weekly averages of what we do and what we eat and our calorie intake is going to make the biggest difference. Thanks, guys. Hopefully that has all made sense for you, and I hope you all have a fantastic week. Keep going with your food diary. Make sure you're brutally honest in there with us too. Thanks, guys.